a few of the things that I've taken away from today. I mean, it's an incredible event to have so many people here, and we thank you for coming and supporting us in this event. A big thanks to the Aconex team who have put all of this together, and I'll mention that a little bit later on. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Leigh Jasper, CEO and co-founder of Aconex. We've been on a journey over many years, and some of you are with us on that journey, some of you are just starting on that journey, and I think as an industry we've got an incredible opportunity ahead of us to be, in my view, construction technology or Contech can be bigger than FinTech in Australia, and we can honestly change the world through what we're doing in Australia and the way this industry works. A few takeaways for me. There's really 4 key areas that I saw as really interesting today. A whole lot of others as well, so this is not the full set, but just some of the things that stood out for me. The ecosystem, data, people and culture, and just getting on with it. I'll talk to each of them briefly. The ecosystem is what this is. It's bringing all of the users, the customers that use our technologies and all the vendors together. And we think the ecosystem is an incredible opportunity for the construction industry in Australia to really drive better results, to drive better, more efficient projects, and to drive higher quality outcomes for the end users. In terms of the ecosystem, one of the comments that stood out today was there's a lot around APIs, a lot around being able to connect systems together, and this concept of having really putting the API first, so an Aconex first mentality essentially enables technology blocks, like Lego blocks, to be pulled together, and really seeing technology as a set of blocks that we can assemble. The second area was data. It keeps coming up. The amount of data in the industry is incredible, and it keeps growing. There was the quote from Doug and Richard Crooks. I think that their data has doubled in the last 2 years. I think that's probably true for all of the companies in this room. The data is growing exponentially and it's taking off. And our ability to capture and use that data is the best it's ever been. So that's something that certainly we're focused on. I think many of you in the room are focused on how you can help the users out on site, the users in head office, in the site shed, capture and use that information to drive better projects. Another thing about data I thought was interesting was this concept of having data across various spheres, if you like. So starting with the project, and then across multiple projects, then across multiple companies, and then across the entire industry. And I think the ability to use data between companies is particularly interesting. And I think in Australia, the way we collaborate in the industry is, I think, the best in the world. And the opportunity to use the data that we all have and share that data. Some of it we don't want to share, of course, some of it's competitive, but a lot of the data, say around safety, could benefit the entire industry and save lives. So being able to share data, not just across projects, but across companies and across the entire industry, I think is a huge opportunity. A number of people talked about culture and how the importance of people in the organisations and how it's absolutely critical in driving change to marry the people with the technology. So it doesn't become just about technology, it becomes about how people use the technology. And there was a comment that I think we all need to be like Hugh Jackman, being able to act, sing and dance. That was this triple thread, so being digital champions or tech experts, experienced builders, so people who know how to build and construct, but also having the ability to influence and the passion to do that through the industry. So if we can bring those 3 things together to drive change in our companies and our sites, I think we can do an incredible job. And then the 4th area was just getting on with it. I think it's a hallmark of the Australian industry that, and honestly, I can say this, we are ahead of a lot of other markets in the world, pretty much every market. I lived for 4 years in Silicon Valley, and you probably couldn't, for obvious reasons, find an area of the world that is more advanced than Silicon Valley in terms of its adoption of technology. But in construction, I think we were still well ahead of Silicon Valley, well ahead of the US, more generally. But it's incredible the way the Australian industry has adopted technology and got on with it. We go back to, Rob mentioned this morning, when we started Aconex, you go back to using dial-up modems, and our first customers were prepared to use Aconex, often with no internet connection on site. I knew they had to get one, but they didn't have one when they started talking to us. And a couple of our first customers didn't even have computers on site. So decided to use Aconex and then put computers onto their sites. So this ability to adopt and to try things out and to get going. And a couple of people saying, looking for paradigm shifts or step changes. So looking for technologies that can step us into a whole other way, whether it's collaboration or drones or BIM or mobility or whatever it is, taking a 10x view of how we can transform our projects. Related to that is trying things and failing fast. So just getting on with things, trying things out. If it doesn't work, try something else. But this ability to try and innovate and to drive new processes, I think, is key in terms of being able to drive this transformation that's happening across the industry. So to finish, just a round of thank yous. Firstly, thank you to all of you who attended. We had just on 500 attendees join us for today and yesterday with the startup sessions. That's double what it was when we did this last year. So we're expecting 1,000 next year, and we'll have to get a bigger venue again. But that's incredible how this industry has come together to support this event, and we thank you for your input, for your thoughts, the way you've participated in the sessions, and that's been fantastic, so thank you. A big thanks to the Victorian Government who sponsored the event this year as well as last year. Their support's been huge to be able to pull this off. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and particularly Microsoft and Trident, and what a great way to finish hearing about what HelloLens is doing in construction and across different industries. And that's a sort of technology that can really change the way the industry works. So thanks to Microsoft again, thanks to Trident and every other sponsor that's participated. Thanks to all the speakers. I know a lot of you put a lot of time into your presentations, into your thoughts and sharing your thoughts, and a lot of those insights are coming from your companies, and we appreciate that you're opening up your thinking to the rest of the industry. Thanks to the panellists, as well as the speakers, all the exhibitors. So we had, I think, 19, 20 exhibitors this year. Thanks for your support. It's just an amazing ecosystem of products, just walking around that room and seeing all of the different technologies that can work together to help drive better productivity for the industry. And again, thanks to Plan Group for sponsoring drinks, which will be just next door. And lastly, I just wanted to thank the Aconex team who have put all this together. It does take a lot of effort to pull an event like this, to do all the logistics, to pull it all together. So thanks particularly to Nick, to Claire, to Luke, to Offa, to Ritika and Oksana, and a whole heap of other people across our various teams. Incredible effort putting together this Construction Technology Summit. So just one last thought I want to leave you with. I think many of you will have at some point heard about, I think it was about probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, Mark Andreessen wrote a famous piece on how software is eating the world. And you can see in industry after industry that software is chewing through these old industries, whether it's banking, whether it's transport, whether it's accommodation, hotels, Airbnb, Uber with transport, fintech with banking. There's technologies chewing into these industries, and as I said earlier at the start of this wrap, that I think Contech in Australia, so the construction technology sector, can be bigger for Australia than fintech. And I think we in this room, customers, partners, providers, software providers and other technology providers have an opportunity to eat our way through the global construction market and to provide a much better industry, a much more efficient industry, a much more productive industry through the use of technology, through the use of software. So software's eating the world, technology's eating the world, and I think we're right in the middle of that, and it's hugely exciting what's happening here in Australia. So thanks again, and we really appreciate all your support.